Looking at the steering wheel as well as the cluster screen inside of the Nissan Kicks. There are two different versions of the cluster that are available. There's this smaller 7-inch version, and then there's also a larger fully digital instead. If you want to walk through on that other version, you'll find a link down in the description of this video. The steering wheel inside of the Kicks across the lineup is going to be manual telescoping. So down by your left knee, there's a little release there. And like I mentioned, full telescoping, so in, out, up and down to find that perfect position. Click it in order to lock it back into place. There are a number of different buttons and stocks, but before we get there, the steering wheel might be heated. If yours is heated, down by your left knee, you've got a button there in order to be able to toggle it on or off. Adjusting your side view mirrors is also pretty straightforward, so you can go either left versus right. If it's not highlighted, you're not adjusting anything, so you just adjust it out from there. Stock along the left-hand side is going to be for your lights, and I highly recommend keeping yourself in the auto mode. At nighttime, you can also push the button on the tip of the left stock to put yourself into an auto high beam mode. So if the car recognizes high beams are needed, it turns them on automatically. If somebody's oncoming, turns them off before turning them right back on again. I mean, you can see here, there's no way to permanently lock your high beams out unless you go to the upper mode there, push away to turn them on, pull towards you to turn them off. At nighttime, you still can push away, but I just recommend keeping yourself in that auto mode instead. Stock along the right-hand side is going to be for your wipers. So up a level is just a quick wipe. Down a level lets you then use the rocker switch in order to adjust out that speed, or you can go to some of those faster modes instead, and then you pull in towards you to get the front wiper fluid going. Along the outside here, you can also adjust out your rear wiper to different levels, and then push away in order to get that rear wiper fluid going. The buttons along the left-hand side here, you can adjust out your audio volume. You can also adjust out your presets this way. There's this basic pages button in order to go to a shortcut option. So shortcuts either for audio sources or a series of driver assistance options. I'll explain that as we dive into the cluster screen. But then you can use this as a basic back button. So as you go into any of these pages, you could then go back a level if you'd like, keep on pushing back. You could also go left versus right here in order to move between different pages. And then you can go up and down to go to subpages on all of these different screens. If you ever get a message inside of the cluster screen, you can push the scroll wheel there, and then you can also do a push and hold in order to adjust out your trip counters and reset them and things like that. But as I mentioned, I'll touch on that as we dive into the cluster. Along the right-hand side here, you've got a voice command prompt. So when you've got your phone hooked up, Android, iPhone, etc., you can do a push there in order to activate either your Siri or your Google Assistant. You can answer or hang up on a phone call, and then these other buttons are going to be for cruise control. There are two different types of cruise control available inside of the Nissan Kicks. It's either going to be normal cruise control or there's adaptive cruise control. The highest trim level will also have a pilot assist system, which is full lane centering. But outside of that, there's a basic lane keeping system which will vibrate the wheel. And then you've got those two types of cruise. So to toggle the system on, you'd push the button here, and it's always going to default you to the adaptive cruise control system. The difference between adaptive versus normal. Normal is your hold at a constant speed. So let's say if you set it at 60, the car in front of you slows down, yours will not brake. So you have to brake or cancel and then resume your speed. With the adaptive, it's based off of this gap adjustment. So if you set it at 60, the car in front of you slows down, yours will auto brake. They change lanes, you change lanes, it'll pick you back up to your previously set speed. But I mentioned toggling it on off this way. If you go to toggle it on and you push and hold instead, that changes you into the traditional cruise control. From there, whether you're an adaptive or traditional, you'd push down in order to set your speed. You can increase or decrease 1 kilometer, 1 mile per hour at a time by going up or down. You can push and hold up, push and hold down to increase, decrease at larger increments. You can hit the brake pedal to temporarily pause or cancel. You can push the cancel button to temporarily pause or cancel, and then you push up again in order to resume your previously set speed. When you're using the adaptive cruise control system, that's where this gap adjustment button comes into play. And there are 3 unique levels that are available. I want you to think of that like a 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, for how close or far you are away from the leading vehicle. I'm personally okay level 1 most of the time, but you might want to be on 2 or 3, just depending on your own reaction speed and your own comfort level. If you want to walk through though and actually see a live demonstration of using cruise control, or if you have the version with the pilot assist system, check down in the description of this video for a walkthrough on that instead, and a live demonstration. Inside of the cluster screen, since this is the smaller version, this part of the screen can be kind of customized. This is locked into place. So along the right side here, you've got your fuel gauge, you've got your current speed, and then you've also got your kilometers till or miles until empty. You can see your current outside temperature, current time, whether or not that seatbelt's plugged in, and then you've got your customizable gauge along the left-hand side. So you can use your left-right arrows along the left pad in order to move between some different views. So your first page, first view, is going to be your RPM counter. You scroll down a level, and that's going to get rid of all that information. So if you just want a blank screen there instead. To the right is going to give us our fuel economy. So you can go up and down this way, and then you've got your current fuel economy levels, how far you've driven, your average speed, and then your current clock on that trip. If you were to push and hold OK, that's going to give you the flexibility to be able to reset that counter out if you'd like to. You can go one more level in order to see either your engine temperature, you've got your tire pressure, your 4x4 option. So this is the 4x4 version. If you didn't have 4x4, you wouldn't have this screen, but you can see which axle is getting which amount of power. One over is going to be whatever station you're currently listening to. You can push the OK button in order to change out your source. So if you wanted to change to AM, FM, Sirius XM, if you had USB stick with MP3s or other audio files on there, Bluetooth audio, etc. So you can easily adjust it that way. And then you can use the left-right arrows along the bottom left part of the left pad in order to be able to change out your presets if you'd like. Over one more level gets you into a driver assistance page with two different views. So you've got your basic driver assistance page, so you can see what's going on with cruise control, etc. Going up a page is going to be all the different safety systems that are enabled. So if you push the OK button now, that's going to give you a quick launch for a few options. So your lane assist. Do you want to get a warning? So if you start to veer over into another lane without signaling, it's going to vibrate the steering wheel, almost like you're running over rumble pavement, and you can get the intensity of that steering wheel vibration. High, middle, or low. Your blind spot system, do you want to get a warning, yes or no? And then emergency braking. So if you're potentially going to get into a collision, it can brake for you. If you're backing up and there's an obstacle behind you that you don't see, it can automatically brake for you there too. Shooting over one more level gives you a boatload of additional settings. So you've got your VDC, so your traction stability control, which can be toggled off. The only time you want to toggle that one off, really slippery, snowy conditions if you're not getting good wheel traction. There's your driver assistance page. So we've already seen these first three. So your lane assist, blind spot, and emergency braking. You've got parking aids there too. So if you've got the parking sensing system, do you want to show that sonar if you're getting close to an obstacle, yes or no? Do you want to toggle that sonar off completely? So if, as you go to back up, if you never want to get that beeping, you can toggle it off. How close are you before you start to get the beep? And then you've got the volume of the beep itself. Cross traffic alert as you're backing up. If somebody's coming from the left or the right side, it can let you know of a possible collision. There's also driver alertness. So if you're looking a little bit drowsy, etc., it can eventually tell you that you should probably take a break. There are some timers, low temperature, and then your chassis control there too. There's some options here for your eco mode. Driving history is there too, so an indicator or a report. So when you go to turn the car off, it's going to let you know how good of a drive you've done. It's not the greatest right now for me because I'm just doing an explainer video, but you can see what your best possible fuel economy is. So on the way out here, when I picked the car up, I was getting like 5.3 liters per 100. So it has incredible fuel economy when you're just coasting on the highway. Then you can push the OK button in order to reset. TPMS, how do you want them measured? PSI, KPA, bar. Your clock, do you want that showing? Yes or no? There are some basic vehicle settings here for lighting. So do you want to get welcome lighting when you unlock the vehicle door? With your headlights in general, when do you want that? Auto headlight to come on, earlier, later, etc. And then light off delay. So when you go to lock the vehicle, do the lights just turn off or do they stay on for up to 3 minutes? So if you need to illuminate your walkway in order to get back to your front door, walking away, etc., that's available. There's some basic options here for your locks. So there's an exterior door switch you can use in order to lock the doors. Selective unlock, do you want to get that? So that's going to be strictly the driver's door that becomes unlocked, or is it all doors that become unlocked? From there, when do you want the doors to automatically unlock? When you turn the car off, do you never want them to automatically unlock, or when you shift into park? From a safety perspective, you may never want them to automatically unlock. Do you want to get a horn beep when you actually go to lock the door? I think that makes sense. Do you want to get a walk-away lock? So as you walk away from the vehicle with the fob on you, it can lock the doors for you. There's an approach unlock there too, and you saw there, it automatically got rid of the selective unlock. So approach unlock means that all doors will become unlocked regardless. But there are some pretty neat key fob tricks that you can do, so let's hop outside and I'll show you how a few of those ones work. In order to use remote start, if you've got it on the fob, you just hit the lock button once and then push and hold that circle button. So lock, push and hold the circle button. You can see there, the vehicle is now remote started. In order to cancel remote start, push and hold that circle button again in order to do it. There are a few different features and functions here too. Now, there's an available walk-away lock. So as long as you've got the key fob on you, start walking away, it's going to lock the doors automatically. There's also an approach unlock too. So as you approach, it can unlock the doors, but there's intelligent access here. So you can push here to lock the doors or unlock as well. And before we hop inside, for me to show you how to set these things up, you can also roll the windows down using the key fob. You just double push the unlock button and hold on the second press. So you go 1, 2, and hold. Watch this. If you release it, it pauses it. But that's going to roll down all 4 windows across the vehicle. Now, unfortunately, there's no way to reverse the process. So once the windows are down, they're down. You have to roll them back up inside of the vehicle. From there, basic options for your wipers, reverse link. So if you've got your windshield wipers going, put yourself into reverse. It's going to turn on that rear wiper for you. And then you've also got a drip wipe. So if you've actually used your windshield wiper fluid, at the end of the cycle, it's going to wipe one more time to get rid of any excess liquid. And then rear door alert. Do you want to get a horn or alert or nothing? So if you've opened up the second row doors, you go to turn the car off. Do you want to get any sort of an alert? You've got basic maintenance information, so your oil filter, tires you can see, your tire life. You can customize the display a little bit, so your main menu page there, what information do you want showing up as a default? You want your cruise screen showing up? I just go to the default that way. Let's see, your welcome effect when you first start the vehicle up, and then operation guidance. So do you want your lights on, off? Your wipers, do you want to toggle that on or off? And then high beam assist is available there too. So that's the one where you can push away in order to get yourself into the auto high beam mode, which I highly recommend later on at night, because if the car recognizes those high beams are needed, it turns them on automatically. If somebody's oncoming, it turns them off before turning them right back on again. You can change out the measurement units here. So you've got the option of going either kilometers or miles. And that doesn't change anything up along the outside part there. So that's strictly going to be for your fuel economy usage. If you're in kilometers, you're going to be used to this liters per 100 measurement. Your tire pressure, do you want to be in either PSI, kPa, or bar? And then your global temperature, Celsius, Fahrenheit. And then your language, do you want to be in either English, French, or Spanish? Then you can also do a factory reset, which is essentially going to wipe all of the custom settings that you've done inside of the cluster screen. And as I mentioned, you've got all of your different views that are available. I'm typically going to be found on this page, but you can also do a push in order to change between either the manual counters or auto counters there instead. So you've got either manual 1, manual 2, or the auto counter. The infotainment system inside of the Nissan Kicks is feature packed, but if you want to walk through on the infotainment, you'll find it down in the description of this video. Down low, you've got your four-way blinkers. You can change yourself between either a day or a night mode very easily. You can also change between your preset stations this way. There's a volume rocker. Push in the middle in order to be able to toggle audio off. Down low, the lower trims are a single zone climate control. You do have the option for dual, but you can easily adjust out your fan speed. You can put yourself into an auto mode or use this rocker in order to adjust out the climate there instead. Heated seats are available there. You can toggle your climate off. You've got the front defroster. You can change it to your windshield, face, feet, some sort of Frankenstein combination of the above. Rear defroster is there. And then there's also air circulation. So with air circulation turned off, it takes air and pulls it from outside the vehicle. With it turned on, it just recirculates air from inside the cabin. You do have to, if you ever want to use AC, make sure that the AC button there is highlighted. You've got your push start, electronic parking brake. So you're just going to pull up in order to turn that parking brake on, push and hold the brake pedal, push down in order to toggle it off. There's also the auto hold setting here too. So with the auto hold, if you're in drive, you come down to a complete stop, you can take your foot off the brake pedal and the car is not going to move. You've got 2 USB power points there, so both of them are USB-C data transfer and for charging. USB inside of the Kicks does support video playback in some video formats. From there, charge pad is there, with a series of selectable drive modes here too. So you've got Sport, Standard, Eco, or Snow. Sport is going to give you the best possible performance inside the vehicle, so it changes at the shift points. Standard is more for your day-to-day driving. Eco, if you're cruising on the highway and you want to get the best possible economy. And then Snow mode is going to play with traction stability control. So I'd recommend Snow, obviously slippery, snowy conditions, but otherwise, Standard, or if you want to have some more fun, go into the Sport mode instead. The shifter here is actually pretty nice in the hand. You've got your park, reverse, which will bring up the backup camera, and the parking sensors if you've got it, neutral, drive, and then you've got your B mode there. So inside of B mode, that's more for downhill braking. So if you're going on a very steep incline, decline, etc., you want to go into that B mode. But outside of that, drive is where you're going to be. As I mentioned, you can get that sport mode for a sportier performance. Up overhead, you've got a manual dimming rear view mirror, and then basic controls here for your cabin lights. So you can toggle them all on. Do you want your lights to come on when the doors are opened, yay or nay? Some versions of the Kicks may also have a little sunroof here too, but unfortunately this basic trim level doesn't have that available, and you'd have some additional controls here if you did. So I know that was a lot of information, but that's everything you need to know about the steering wheel as well as the cluster screen inside of the Nissan Kicks.